All right, it's the second day, or not, probably the first day because I arrived yesterday here in Bangkok, and I kind of really want to talk about something that is probably a little bit difficult to explain and potentially difficult to understand for some people because a little bit of backstory. I was born and raised in Germany, but both of my parents are from Indonesia, and with that my parents and I, when I was little, went to Indonesia basically every summer. And although I obviously wasn't raised in Indonesia, being in Indonesia when I was little almost every year, um, definitely ingrained some of this. Okay, being in Asia is somewhat of a home, although I didn't speak the language. And obviously, many of the kids understood that I wasn't from there. It still gave me a little bit of a homey feeling, but still, I was born and raised in Germany. And being now almost getting close to 50, I was in the 80s and 90s in Germany. Excuse me. Basically, one of the only Asian kids where I was living. There was one or two, but not in my class, and so I was basically the only Asian kid. Two, I mean, it wasn't bad, but being the only one, sometimes I did experience some racism, and obviously, always being the smallest kid, it sometimes wasn't easy. I actually, one of the like most not most one traumatic event that I remember still to this day, and where I was really annoyed by that, was when he said he was a friend, but basically he wasn't a friend. One of these kids, he was much taller than I was and much stronger. He was invited to my home. We hung out, and for some reason he thought it would be a good idea to take my head in both of his hands, just like a melon, and squeeze as hard as he could. That was, it hurt like hell, and B, it was really scary, and he just chucked it off as something funny. And it was even at my home, and it was really, I didn't like that at all. And it was, I'm not sure if it actually was traumatic, but it was, as a 7-year-old kid, that wasn't great. That wasn't really great. Anyways, that's not part of this. Maybe it's a little bit part of the story, because I want to get to here now, being in Asia again, Southeast Asia, and Thailand to be exact. So quite close to Indonesia, and I would say there are a lot of similarities. It, to me, is a really, I don't know how to explain. When I arrived yesterday at the airport with so many Thais and Asian people around me, I actually felt really happy and a little bit relieved in a way. I wouldn't call this home, obviously, but being around so many people that basically look like me and are as tall as I am, or as short as I am, and having this very friendly vibe gave me a lot of homey feelings. And again, this is probably not something that many people can understand. I feel like this is only something that you can understand if you are a person of color, and being raised surrounded by people that basically don't look like you. And I feel like with many other persons of colors in Germany, at least, with so many friends that I have that are also persons of color, they basically always had at least one or two people that basically looked like them, right? And I did not have that. I predominantly hung around with Germans, or to be exact, Caucasian Germans, and because I consider myself a German as well. But obviously I don't look like it. And actually had this one YouTube comment that was like, "Oh, you don't look German," and I didn't really know what to respond to that. But then I have a couple of Turkish friends, but they obviously have a lot of Turkish other friends, and a couple of person of colors as well. But yeah, I feel like I was the only Asian one, and so no matter with what kind of demographic I was hung out with, I was always one that stood out. Fortunately, not. I feel like many of the stereotypes in regards to Asians is predominantly positive, but also when I got issues with racism, it was not only from white people but also from other person of colors, because I felt like when I was younger I was an easy target because I'm so small and so short. So I got into a couple of fights based on my skin color, which was really disheartening, because obviously you think like, okay, there's a skinhead, a Nazi or whatever, and back then you were basically able to see them from far away because they basically had this form of uniform. But then being kind of like picked on by other person of color because I'm Asian was, for the lack of a better description, really eye-opening. So yeah, so going back to my story, as I said, I felt like coming here and arriving at the airport, I felt so good being again in a place where I don't stick out too much, and I somewhat feel home. And again, it's probably very difficult to understand by other people, and I feel like this is only something that people understand who are a person of color and a very big minority, where meaning you don't have any similar friends in a way, and you grow up basically in a country that where everyone is looking differently. And don't get me wrong, I love being German, I love living in Germany, and I won't leave. But every time I come to any Southeast Asian place, I do have this feeling of hominess in a way. And yeah, I really enjoy it, and I'm definitely looking forward to stay these 2 weeks here in Bangkok. And yeah, let's see how this turns out. And yeah, again, thank you so much for listening. Let me know if you have similar feelings whenever you travel to a specific place. Let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, maybe check out my last video up here, YouTube things I like the video down here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. That way we see each other in the next video. Thank you very much.